So briefly, I am a professor of communication and media at LS&A. I study the role of child and family food perceptions and practices, the role of media in child and family food perceptions and practices. And most of my research focuses on media, body image, disordered eating, and perceptions, kids' perceptions of healthy meals. So the first speaker is going to be Kate Bauer. I can freestyle my own introduction, but I'm not going to freestyle Kate, so forgive me while I'm reading. Kate is an assistant professor of nutritional sciences here in the U of M School of Public Health. She received her PhD in behavioral epidemiology and spent 3 years in the Center for Obesity Research and Education at Temple University before joining us here. Her work extends seriously important foundational research done at Minnesota, where she worked, that demonstrates significant overlaps between obesity and practices that are traditionally associated with disordered eating, body image, and child feeding, as well as a moderating effect of contextual variables like food insecurity and maternal executive function. In 2013, she was named a Fellow of the Obesity Society, and in 2016, she received the Future Leader Award from the International Life Sciences Institute. The title of her talk is Childhood Obesity, the Blame Game, and her favorite food is chocolate chip cookies and also cheese in France. Notice it's not cheese from France, it's cheese in France. So please welcome Kate up to give her talk.
That was better than any intro I could have written about myself, so I'll need the copy after this. So what I'm going to talk about today is a slight deviation from pure sustainable food systems, but it's something that I've been thinking about and I really wanted to share with all of you, and I'm happy to chat after the presentation. So when we think about reasons why people are discriminated against, we often think of characteristics like race, age, and ethnicity. However, what most people don't realize is that weight and body size are some of the most common reasons why individuals are discriminated against and experience stigma. This data just show you that among American adults, almost as many report being discriminated against because of their body size as they do for race, age, and ethnicity. Fundamentally, fat shaming, stigma, discrimination happens because people wrongly believe that our weight is 100% under our control. And if our weight is under our control, then individuals who are heavier and with obesity must be lazy, non-compliant, not caring about their health, sloppy, and unintelligent. And also, some people believe that we need to shame people and it's okay to discriminate against people in larger bodies in order to get them to wake up and change their behavior, which of course would change their body size. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with what happened between Bill Maher and James Corden last week, but I'll show you a brief clip because James Corden can speak to the effects of weight discrimination much better than I ever could. Basically, Bill Maher was saying that we need to do more fat shaming in our society because obviously if we still have an obesity epidemic, then we're not shaming people enough. So I'll just let James Corden share what we know, and much of our research here in Michigan has found about the effects of fat shaming. And there's no volume.
It makes people feel ashamed, and shame leads to depression, anxiety.
All right, we're good? Okay, let me start over. So James Corden speaking on the effects of weight stigma, fat discrimination.
Proven that fat shaming only does one thing: it makes people feel ashamed. And shame leads to depression, anxiety, and self-destructive behavior. Self-destructive behavior like overeating. It's proven.
Okay, so I think in part because of this, because of a lot of research that we've been doing here and other people across the country on the harmful effects of weight-based stigma, we are, and you can agree or disagree, coming to as a society more of an understanding, right, that discriminating against individuals because of their body size is not helpful, it's harmful. But at the same time that we are moving towards hopefully greater acceptance of people in larger bodies, we still, when it comes to childhood obesity, blame parents. right? So we can somehow start to understand that obesity is not completely under our individual control. But when we look at children with obesity, we think those parents screwed up. They did something wrong. And this blame and shame is evident in many local recent headlines. This was from last week. Some recommendations came out around what children should drink, milk and water. And the headline was, "Enough with the fruit juice and Gatorade, just give the kids water already. Parents seem to forget that the clear stuff exists." Your parenting style may be causing your child's obesity. Parents' denial fuels the childhood obesity epidemic. And want your teen to have a healthy weight, science says shut up. The amount of negativity and anger directed at parents of heavier children is just incredible, and obviously can be seen from headlines like this. There's also data that proves that individuals blame parents of children with obesity. So this was data from a national poll where 70% of Americans said that parents are to blame for their child's weight. And what got me was that only 17% of individuals said they had sympathy for parents of children with obesity. We can also look at interview findings that quotes from actually other parents that say, "I definitely blame overweight children on their parents. They're not educated, they don't know better, they just don't care, they're neglecting their children." So in the same stereotypes we put on individuals with obesity, we now transfer to parents of children with obesity that they must not care and they're neglecting their children. So in thinking about this, I started to shift my perspective. And what if instead of thinking about blaming parents as something useful, what if in fact it is a form of stigma, just like other forms of weight stigma? If that's the case, then these messages towards parents and this incredible negativity actually becomes very harmful to parents, to the parent-child relationship, and ultimately to children. So we've done some work talking to parents of children with obesity and asking them their experience of being blamed and shamed. And I have some quotes, I won't read them all word for word, but essentially this theme came out time after time again. Parents feel like they are failing as parents because of their child's weight. Their relationships with those around them suffer because of this blame and this shame and this ridicule of their parenting. Parents are scared to go to doctors because they don't want to be lectured and they don't want to be shamed by their doctors, which has happened. And ultimately, again, right, they just feel like failures. So I just want to leave you with this final closing thought with this just seed of information. So what would happen if instead of looking at the parent of a child with obesity and blaming them and thinking about all the things they must be doing wrong, we actually began to empathize with them and we began to think, they must, this is a struggle in their life. They're having a hard time. What can I do to help? All right, thank you.